Okay, if you're in a relationship that you are not happy with and you do nothing about it, guaranteed nothing is going to change. So let's start going after the kind of relationship we want. And I love that. I love taking it and let's put a positive on it. What do we want? And let's go for it.
Well, you know, there's a saying, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time.
That's right.
and that's even true in relationships. When it comes to like New Year's Eve and people are making resolutions, what do they make resolutions about? Quitting smoking, getting thinner, getting richer. But they never, ever make relationship goals. And so I think it's really important for people to have a vision of what it is they want.
Okay, but let's talk about goals. Because first of all, for the goal people, we get all excited. I mean, we're out there with pen and paper, we're ready to start setting them. But for people who are not into goals, that's not a fun word.
Yeah, well, but it's got to start with just simple things. I mean, for me, you're watching, you're saying, okay, I've heard this. I don't want my marriage to go down the tank like I've heard. But it just starts by, don't take it for granted. You got to bump up the priority in the marriage and say, you know what, I want something more, so I got to put time into it. There's nothing really magical to it. If I put effort into something that I want, I keep it.
That's right.
But question, because appreciation I think is extremely powerful and very underrated. But does somebody actually change their behavior if all they do is just say, I'm going to start appreciating my spouse? Or do they need to get specific?
I like your idea of the pencil and paper, not that they have to write it down, but setting goals. When I ask couples, what is it that you're hoping to change, which is my first question, people don't tell me what they want to change. They complain.
About what's wrong.
Exactly. I don't, you know, he's too critical, she's not affectionate enough. Those aren't goals. So what I first suggest that people do is turn the negative comments or the criticism into asking for what you want to have happen instead. So if a woman says that my husband's too critical, I'll say, when he stops being critical, what will he be doing instead? And she'll say, well, it'd be nice if he complimented me once in a while. Now you're beginning to get a goal. That's criteria number one.
But I love what you said at one point in your book when you talked about so clearly, and I really did appreciate it, if you just stop doing the negative things for a while, it actually turns the marriage around. And just, you know, we've talked to lots of couples, and, you know, if you say, okay, what are the things that you'd like him to change, what things you'd like to change, and they got the list going, right? I say, can we just stop those for a couple weeks, see what happens? Well, of course, that's not easy, but it's the void of all the bad. All of a sudden, there's even room for neutral and good. If you just stop the crud, right?
It also helps to figure out what you're going to replace it with. Yes, it's calling a moratorium on the negative stuff, but it's being clear about what would replace it. So the second step is really to think in action-oriented terms. So if you say, I want my husband to be more affectionate, I know what that means, she knows what that means, but does he know what that means?
Exactly.
Okay, so we're going to tell him what it means, okay? Clearly,
it works both ways. It's not just that guys are dense. I mean, you really have to think, you have to say it. In order for you to be more affectionate, it'd be nice if you put your arm around me once in a while.
But guys just want that specificity. Like you just said it. Could you just put your arm around me? Oh, I can do that.
Right. Kiss me hello when in the mornings.
Yes.
Kiss me goodbye when you say goodbye.
Morning.
I'm curious.
Guys are trainable.
I'm curious. How many of you have ever honestly thought about what you want out of your relationship, not what's wrong? I think that's fascinating in itself.
We implied it, and I played up on it too, you know, that guys are trainable. But we talked about this earlier today, that sometimes it's always hung on the guys to make all the changes.
It's not always hung on the guys. Everyone needs to be more action-oriented. Right. You know, a husband needs to tell his wife, you know, I want you to be more respectful, and this is what I mean by it. You know, once in a while, say it's okay to invite the people in my company over for dinner so that I can really be sort of the king of the household. That would really make me feel great.
And if you said something about me at the table,
have it be a compliment. Exactly.
Yes.
And the third thing that's really, really important, people often bite off more than they can chew. So goals should be broken down into small, doable steps. Yes. Things that you can accomplish like in a week or two, because there's nothing that breeds success like success. When you see that you've made a little advancement, then you go,
the domino,
yes, exactly.
Right? You know, and what I found couples as we list the issues, I says, is if we deal with this one and then this one, pretty soon you just get the momentum. We got a recovery momentum going on. And they start to like it. It becomes a bit of like an elixir. I like more.
And let me confess, as a goalaholic, I'm the person who has 550 goals, and they all have about 300 sub-goals. And I have learned I have learned in 45 years that it is time to simplify my goals so that I can feel successful, because that's what encourages me to go even after the next one harder.
And so that other people can join you in the goals.
Right? Well,
like Mark.
If you want me to simplify things for you in terms of relationship change, it really can be distilled down to 2 factors. You know, with diet books, you know, there are millions of diet books out there, but we all know what you need to do to lose weight, right?
Less calories, more exercise.
You got it. So with relationships, if you really want to improve them, do more of what works, do less of what doesn't. Just think about that. They'll say, well, we spend more time together, we talk more, we do more fun things, we do more family things. And I'll say, perfect, that's a formula for change. But people say, but I don't feel like it because I'm not feeling close and connected. Who said that you have to feel that way before you start doing those things?
Thank you.
Take an action, and it triggers positive feelings.
Follow behavior.
Okay. And now I want you to know something. I teased about hitting another part again in this segment, and you just did. You heard some great truth about how to keep your marriage strong. Okay? Thank you, Michele.
Yes.
We will have you back. Now listen. Go to marriageuncensored.com. We got all kinds of resources, all kind of helps there. We're gonna actually have more of the show, which is only seen on the website. You'll have fun with that too. Stay with us for the bottom line.